we're dependent on income tax. Income tax is our lifeline. And what you have in front of you, the slide shows the neighboring communities. Now, there's this information sheet. I had Vern put together the financial fact sheet. It's on the table. You can take it home, study it. There's a wealth of information there. What it shows you, what this graph shows, if you look to the far left, you'll see independence, a comparison between 2009 and 2010 for the first several months. Now look how much we get in income tax. Now look at our neighboring communities. And by the way, look at that far right. That's Westlake. What does Westlake have? What's it say, 30-some thousand people? Significant number of people compared to the 7,000 that we have. But that's misleading because people say, well, 7,000 people. Well, what about the 25,000 that come to work here every day that pay the 2% tax? What about the 140,000 that go up and down I-77 or the 150,000 cars that go on I-480 on a daily basis? Once they're within our jurisdiction, they become our responsibility. So it's not as though we just have to service 7,000 people. We have to have the safety forces and the ability to serve many, many more people, which is what we do. Municipal income tax, our lifeline. You can see what's happened since the early 80s. I remember back in 1982, at the bottom of the graph on the left, 1982, we took in approximately $4 million. Does anybody remember Davy McKee? The large engineering firm that was in the building before First Energy? Cricket worked there, and you've survived. That's good. But my point is that Davy McKee at the time, I was a freshman councilman, Davy McKee represented 10% of our income tax. They generated $400,000 of income tax. And what happened, Davy McKee then went out of business, or they were bought out by a bigger company, or whatever the circumstance, they left the city. The next year they were down from $400,000 to $80,000 in income tax, and then they were gone. What we did then, it made us rethink how we were going to business in terms of the buildings that were being built. And that's when we started to have multiple occupancy buildings constructed. And that saved us because we were not dependent on one customer, one location, and one customer. And that's where we're at today. You can see what's happened since then. It's $23 million, and we're projecting on the conservative side this year, but think about that, $23 million. That's our lifeline. So when we invest money on Rockside Road, we invest money on Pleasant Valley, and we invest money for ITC, it's because that's our lifeline. It makes it all the services available, all the programs available. It makes it all possible. Now, where's the money come from? You can see the big portion of that pie on the graph is income tax. But another small, interesting small segment of that graph is the property tax. And it looks like we take in more money from the motel bed tax than we do for the property tax. In other words, the hotels, we're the second, I think, most populated hotel rooms in the greater Cleveland area, other than Cleveland, because we're so accessible from the airport, and we're so convenient to downtown. Remember, our success is because of our location, in part. The center of Cuyahoga County, that's correct. But notice that the property tax is a smaller sliver than motel tax. Then you have to ask the question, where's the money go that we collect every year? Big segment of that is police and fire. How many like the police and fire services, paramedic services that we provide? And then general government is the city government services, and then recreation. How many like the Civic Center? And then the service department is two of the segments, the service department and the streets resurfacing and maintenance. That accounts for those two segments. And Lord knows we need to take care of our sewers, our water lines, our streets, and they do a great job with that. That's right, that's right. Hey, Dave, you're very much appreciated. Oh, there's Dave. Okay. Okay. Now, people always ask, why are we buying new equipment? Why do we have new equipment, new trucks, new fire apparatus, new ambulance? Well, similar to you at home. You upgrade your cars. You buy new cars. You upgrade your kitchen. You upgrade your appliances. Well, the City of Independence has to do that too, because remember, we're responsible 24/7. We're responsible 8760. Anybody know what 8760 means? 8760. In the energy business, that's very important because everyone talks about renewable energy, and they talk in terms of wind power, solar power, and none of those are 8760. We happen to be in the business where we manage biosolids, and that's 8760. That's 24-hour a day, 7-day a week energy being provided. And so our services are 24/7. 8760, we have to be available for everybody. So we have to keep our equipment in good shape. Maintaining our infrastructure. It's important that we upgrade our streets, our sewers. You know, our sanitary sewers are over 40 years old. Now, they're underground, so people don't think about them. But we know that we have to be prepared because normal sewer life for, 50, 60 years? Future leaders are going to have to plan for those repairs and plan for those upgrades. Just because they're buried, that doesn't mean they're less valuable or important. Ask anybody that's subjected to a flood, and they'll tell you how important it is. But our service department and our engineering department and building department do a great job making sure that your infrastructure is in top-notch shape. But it's always to the point where it needs upgrades. And that's what we try to do, stay on top of some of the situations. But maintaining our infrastructure is so important. Now we get to the meat of the challenges portion. Good financial management is the key. That's the key for every successful government. Managing your money properly, making sure that you have monies available, and making sure that you're able to provide those services that the people come to expect. You know, good financial management is the key to success. In poor economic times, it's the key to survival. And what we try to do is make sure, unlike the federal government, we can't print money. We can't. Believe it or not, we can't. I know over the years some people in this room thought we could just print it, but we can't. That's purely the federal government. What we must do is manage our money. We must manage it through hard work, through a team effort. And we've put together a financial team that I believe is second to none. I say that because other communities use our financial team. They use the expertise of John Veras. They used and have called upon the expertise of Vern Blaze. And I know some people have questioned my decision or request of having Vern come off a council and join the administration. But he was term limited anyway. And he had his master's, and he had the degrees, and he had the expertise, and he had love for this community to the point where I knew I could depend on him. And between John Veras and Vern Blaze and the team John has supporting him, and I must say, council and the finance committee and council, this team that we've assembled has brought stability to your finances. You haven't seen any layoffs, you haven't seen furloughs, and you haven't seen cutbacks in services. And I give them a lot of credit because in this tough economic times, we've been very, very fortunate, and they watch the money every day. I try to get John to give me a couple extra bucks to fill those glasses with money for you, and he just told me, forget about it. He's just prudent, and he's very cognizant of what's going on.